Hello and welcome back to the virtual show. My name is Paul Davis.
I'm Joe Longbone. I got
sure?
it right this time. I was tempted to butt in and say, as you were saying, and I am, and then I was going to say Paul Davis, but thought I wouldn't be able to get it in, especially if there was a bit of lag.
Yeah. There's something that you can maybe do tomorrow and put me off then. Yeah.
Throw you off your game.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for everyone coming in. We can see everyone piling into this evening's live, so it's all wonderful to see you. Please let us know that you're watching live as well. Place a hello or a wave or any of the emoji symbols into the comments. It's always lovely.
I want somebody to use the flamenco dancer.
Yeah, we haven't had that one yet. Joel's a bit disappointed. He mentioned it the other day, and still nobody has. Yeah, I think we mentioned it on two of the live streams. So let's crowd this source.
Gutted.
No, we've had a wonderful day. It's been brilliant.
Despite
had a little bit of
issues.
Yeah, I was just about to say we had a bit of technical issues on our last one. Now, hopefully, we've resolved those now. We have been in contact with some of the technical people.
StreamYard.
Yeah, doing that. And hopefully we've got that resolved now. So nobody wants to hear Joel looping back and forth on a video. No. So hopefully we won't have that
worse
again.
For me, hearing my own voice over and over.
I can imagine.
Cheers, Paul. Cheers. You don't need enemies when you got mates like you.
No, certainly don't. And this morning we had Tim in from PhotoSpeed who was going over textures and different types of paper as well. And once again, constantly learning, constantly figuring out things, and learning about how different papers go with different images was really fascinating as well. So absolutely lovely. And now we've got a very special guest coming in all the way from Norfolk. So
I know, it's a long way.
It's a long way to travel.
Yeah. Oh, apologies if you hear my children in the background.
It is bath time, Joel. It is bath time. Right, I think it's a good time to invite Dibs into the stream. So everyone, please welcome Dibs. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, Dibs.
Hello, you right?
You coming from your man cave in Norfolk?
I am, yeah. Rather rainy Norfolk tonight as well.
Yeah, it was rainy here. Still is, I think.
Yeah, with the rain was lashing on the door a minute ago, and the dog took shelter in here as well.
Yeah. Oh, Pepper.
Yeah, little stinky dog.
Stinky dog.
Yeah, she features on my vlogs quite often. You hear her whimpering in the background because she wants to go and go for a cafe for some breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, let's get started. Let's find out a bit about you, Dibs. So, who are you?
Yeah, so obviously, I'm Dibs. I'm from Norfolk. I'm originally from up in the Highlands of Scotland. I got lost on the way. Somehow ended up in Norfolk. But
went left a bit.
The accent's a little bit of a giveaway there as well. But so basically, I discovered photography in 2009 on the back end of having been really ill with cancer, and used it as a bit of a healing thing for me, really, and for something for me to be able to escape from the hustle bustle of life and just to enjoy something nice to have as a hobby. That hobby was really, really nice, and it opened up a lot of doors of opportunity and all things nice, really. I live in a nice area of the country, as most of us do as well. I'll never be one for living in the city centre or something like that. So I'm blessed with the Norfolk Broads and the Norfolk coast as well. So the perfect place to experiment with a camera, I guess.
Cool. So you obviously had cancer, and you took up photography to kind of go through that process. How have you developed on from that point in terms of like where you are now? Are you like fully recovered? Is that
yeah. So that was 11 years ago now. So yeah, obviously all things were well. Put on a lot of weight, which is a good thing in some ways, but in most not, unfortunately.
It's like everybody during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah, during lockdown, I somehow lost weight, which is pretty good going. I think it's
not the only person.
Yeah, I know. It's, well, so I couldn't get out to all those cafes after sunrise for the mega breakfasts.
Yeah,
with the extra bottle of Coke and the extra toast and the extra sausage. So, yeah. And those things, I mean, they're not readily available at home. But that's what photography is about for me. I love getting up in the morning, meeting up with a couple of friends, and going out to somewhere new, somewhere we've been to before, like Haysborough, one of our local spots. Quite often we'll just nip down there, 20 minutes in the car for me, and we can meet. Well, we used to be able to meet up 4, 5, or 6 of us, and we'd all go our sort of separate little ways, and all coming away with different photos from that sunrise every morning, and then it'd be straight to the cafe for breakfast. And it was that community feeling of us getting out and about and doing something and exercising and being able to have a bit of a chin wag and just forget about everything for a good few hours as well, while the first light of the day would come up and just hit you in the face, which to me really did a lot of wonders for me, actually. And it's hard to explain, but it just makes you feel good, I think, just being out in the fresh air and having walked for a couple of hours while you're taking your photos and you're just seeing somewhere that you might have been before, but you see new things in these places. Or you drive for 3 or 4 hours to the Peak District with a car full of your mates, and you go there for a whole day's worth of photography. Before you know it, it's a 20-hour day. You've done 3 or 4 locations and you're driving back home, normally via Burger King or McDonald's.
It seems like there's a theme here, Dibs.
Well, we do support local pubs in the Peak District and other places as well. We do know where the good burgers are in the local pubs all around the country, which is always good as well.
Do you have the obligatory 3 or 4 p.m. Slice of cake with a coffee as well?
I have been known to do that as well. Yeah.
I feel like that's a photographer's thing to do. Is to have the slice of cake.
I think really with things like that. So when I do my workshops, they do tend to have a little bit of a stop halfway through as well, and there's normally a flask of coffee. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a salad, but I've definitely seen a lot of cake and a lot of sandwiches and pies, and yeah. That's
as somebody famous once said, "You don't make friends with salad."
Oh no,
that's gonna be stuck in your head now.
You're right. But yeah, so that's the sort of thing that I really enjoy. And even though it's work in an aspect, because I teach photography, I went and did a bachelor's art degree and also then a master's degree in photography. It is work for me, but it's not, because I enjoy it so much as well. There was a point in my life when I wasn't enjoying it, when I have this really strong memory. I was with my friend Jerry at a festival. He's a good few years ahead of me in his photography, photographing festivals and music. A massive love of mine is music. And I was getting into my photography. He warned me, because don't ever let photography become work, because you won't enjoy it. And I thought, fair. What's he on about? And lo and behold, 5 years later, I'm sick of, well, not sick, but a bit bored of shooting stuff I've not got an interest in, because I was having to photograph weddings, birthday parties, full of lots of people in pubs, and I don't really go to pubs anymore. It's not really who I am, and shooting events all the time is you're shooting everybody when everybody else is out having fun at those peak hours when everybody's having. So Saturday night, 10 o'clock at night, Friday night is the same, or you're Sunday during the day, and you miss out on that family time. And I was really starting to miss that with my wife and my daughter and my 2 stepkids as well. And it was starting to take a bit of a toll on my well-being as well. And this was starting to happen really sort of near the start of my MA, sort of like late 2016 going into 2017. And in that period, I had this moment of clarity, I guess, where I was able to speak to my mentor, I was able to speak to my wife, I was able to speak to other people, close friends as well, about how I felt about my photography and where it was going. And I think with that as an opportunity, I was able to kind of sack off clients really and just free up my workload, so actually I could go back to shooting the stuff I love, which is my landscapes, like my city at night project, as the city sleeps. Bunkers, lumps of concrete in the ground, sort of the remains of war and things like that as well, which are my interests, along with things like your traditional sort of, I hate the term, but sort of postcard landscapes, the stuff that sells because people have a connection with those, like the local chroma pier, or I say, yeah, South Stack Lighthouse, another one that sold recently as well. Just it's things like that which actually generate an income for me and puts fuel in the tank to fund other trips as well.
Sure.
So yes, it's kind of weird how it's. I wish I'd listened to that person back then and not allowed photography to become so much work. But I think that also fed my creativity in quite a way, because I was able to experiment with a lot of different types of photography as well at the same time, I think, which is kind of bizarre, but it all happened in quite a short space of time. But I mean, when you're driving home from a gig, like in London or Southend or something at 1 o'clock in the morning, you've got blood on you from a cage fighting show, and the people wanting to have photos, they're actually messaging you while you're still on your way home from London saying when the photo's going to be up. It's like, and you kind of feel, you need to, because there's other photographers there who live closer to London, because we are sort of right out on the way here in Norfolk, and it's a 2-hour drive home from London. You need to be getting those images online, and you always seem to be working, which is it did start to get a little bit repetitive, and yeah, it's just a bit stale really. And now doing what I do, meeting amazing people out on the coast and just having fun is exactly where I want to be, I think.
Yeah, so, no, that's very interesting, and I think it's very, it just highlights some of the reasons why, like photography, how stressful a potential sort of working as a photographer can be as well. You know, just mentioning about sort of like the time scales about getting things ready and everything.
Yeah. I mean, working as a web photographer, I mean, I'm an absolute worrier. It drives my wife insane. Anything we do, I plan for every single worst case scenario. She's just thinking about the fun times and everything, and it creates a little bit of like conflict sometimes, because I plan everything and I want to be in control. But when I'm out shooting my landscapes, I just it's completely different. I let everything just go. But shooting a wedding, I'm freaking out about the weather, about the lighting, people being on time, my camera breaking, me being sick. And the 2-3 nights before, I'd never sleep properly. And actually that then starts to create issues, because obviously with having had cancer, I've got a weakened immune system. As a result of that, I pick up infections quite easily. So I've literally just hidden away really since lockdown, and been nipping to the coast at silly o'clock in the morning really, or lasting at night as well, avoiding the coast where it's been busy. But yeah, because of that, I do get burnt out quite quickly as well. And I think part of that is what happened in 2018, and I wasn't really aware of what was going on, but it was something I wish I had been able to be a bit more aware of, I think, as well. And
was it a hard decision pulling away from like turning down the work? Because obviously there's the financial side of things, which is one thing, but then obviously just making sure that you've got enough work to carry on doing what you love. I mean, back in 2018, was that quite a difficult decision to sort of make?
Yeah, yes and no in a way, because I just sort of, when I was doing my MA, I was working full time as well. So I was working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just in a standard job basically, and that was just working doing technical support. And that's a Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday I was in uni, and then Friday, Saturday I was then back in that same job, and Sunday I'd be doing a workshop, and then every evening I was doing my uni work. So I was committed to working an awful lot then, but I was still doing photo shoots. Someone would bring some product around my house to be photographing, or on a Sunday or in the evening. All my clients understood that I was doing an MA and they wanted me to do work for them, so they'd be fitting in around those times I was doing that as well. So it kind of worked quite well. But then I would then be working until really late at night, and that really started to take a toll. So come 2018, when I finished at MA, we actually went to North Wales for 4 days with. There's about 15 of us went, and it was all the my workshops. It wasn't a workshop in the slightest. It was just a big fat jolly with lots of people, and we basically toured the pub, and we photographed as many locations as we could in 4 days. And we were not lost, but we were lost in the fog in Denoric. We knew where we were, but yeah, we were trying to find some certain bits in Denoric, and I was with my friend Paul as well. You can't really see it, but there's a photo which is just up there, which I have hanging up all the time. And it was while I was speaking to my friend Paul at that moment, really, that we I decided really that was it. Really, that was it for me. I was going to get back to Norfolk. I was then off up to Scotland for a few days to go see some family and some shooting up there as well. And it was that point, really, over a course of a week, that I decided what I was going to do. And as soon as I got back to Norwich, I got on the hunt for a job, really, that I could do that is going to allow me to still be creative and do what I want to do now, which very luckily, within a month, appeared. It was like some sort of sign, really. So I ended up working for a software company, working on a photo editing program based in Norwich, which if you told me 3 years ago that was ever going to happen, I'd have laughed at you. I'd have probably bought a lottery ticket. I think I've got a better chance of that, I think. But that job allows me to do customer support and help people, something which I'm really passionate about as well. And also I'm learning about quality assurance and software development and testing as well. So it's all new things. And I love to be challenged, and I love to learn, and I love to discover things as well. And that job has allowed me to do that and run my workshops, sell my prints, travel as well. So I can, well, not this year, but I can. It opens quite a lot of opportunities for me being able to do that as well. But so yeah, in short, the decision wasn't really too hard, to be honest. But I did keep on a couple of my clients though, who I love the events that I shoot for them as well.
That's cool.
I think it highlights
to hear how that goes around, isn't it? Sorry. There's definitely a bit of lag, isn't there?
There is a little bit.
Yeah, talking stick. It's interesting the fact that you kind of found photography as a way of relaxing, and then it got you to a point in 2018 that it was the exact opposite and had the potential to make you even more ill in a different way than what photography had helped you get out of, almost.
When you feel the pressure that you've got to deliver, I don't know, for argument's sake, 200 photos to a bride on her day, or you're shooting food for a client and you that's got to be done, or you're photographing a whole hotel, all these sort of things. Actually, there is a lot of pressure involved in that. And even just, I worry about like the worst, like even being late to a shoot, I'd see is a bit rude, really. And I worry about those sort of things, and it wasn't good for me, really. So now I just rock up for sunrise, and I get there an hour and a bit early and enjoy it, and actually allow myself the time just to be able to sit down and watch it as well. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm the happiest I think I've been in a long time. I think it's good.
I think there's something wrong with me then, because I like the precious stuff.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't think everyone's cut out for it. Is the trouble? I like pressure. Don't get me wrong. I like the, let's say, being on the workshop, and you've got loads of people there and they're all wanting to learn something. I really enjoy that aspect of it all. I love the pressure of when I'm at work and I've got, I don't know, like 200 things to work through to be testing on I don't know, like clone and heal, when that got added into the software, and I'm repeatedly testing that to make sure it works. And split toning, we're absolutely bashing the living daylights out of that in the software. I love the pressure of that, but I've got control over that. And the weather at a bride's wedding, I've got no control over that, and that's the things that eat inside me, I think, as well. And worst case now is if the sunrise is no good, then I say, yeah, it's no
You
good.
go to a cafe for a big breakfast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that can hopefully start again pretty soon. So
Yeah. It's good that you had that self-awareness, I suppose. I suspect there's a lot of people that enjoyed photography, got to a point where they could make a living out of it, or at least a partial living out of it, and they got into doing jobs that they didn't really enjoy or didn't fit their wheelhouse or didn't excite them creatively, but it paid the bills. So that's fear of losing that income, which is a big deal to most of us. But the fact that you had that moment with Paul, I think you said, at the Norwick, and that you were able to have the guts, the bravery to say, actually, this isn't working and it's going to get me to a place where I don't want to be. And so if I stop now, I have a chance of recovering from that direction of photography. But the fact that you still have the ability to have photography to give you all of the benefits that it did in 2011?
Yeah.
No, 2009.
Yeah, 2009. Yeah,
2009.
Yeah.
I knew there's a 9. I couldn't remember if it's been 9 years you were shooting for, or 11.
Which way it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. I think sometimes you need to experience things. I think, and just see, you need to see where they go, and you do need to take a chance. And I've never been shy of that in any point in my life. I mean, there's never been a job where I wouldn't do. And I say, not just photography, but any job really. But it's with photography. Somebody would say, "Can you shoot that?" Yeah, sure I can. And that old saying of I then go and research it and find out how to do it, because that's pretty much how I learned my photography for the first couple of years, where I was going around photographing abandoned buildings and all that sort of stuff, and absolutely loving it. And then the opportunity came along to photograph a boxing show, and just by pure chance, because the job I was still doing at the time as a software engineer, as a water technician, I was able to. So that's my amazing light from my monitor. So just by pure chance, because I used to do a little bit of boxing and sort of kickboxing, and I was taking photographs because I've been cut in pieces from this operation. I was able to photograph a bit of the training show, and then one of the guys who I was doing the servicing for, his son put on a boxing show and said, "Hey, I've seen the photos." I was friends with him on Facebook. We're looking for a photographer. Do you want 50 quid, all the beer you can drink, literally all the beer you can drink, and take photographs, and then you can sell the photos to the fighters? And I came away with 250 quid, and I thought, bloody hell, I've only been doing this a couple of years, and like. Yeah, and I nearly left the camera at the event because I was so drunk. It was just like, you live and learn. I think that's the one and only time I've got drunk when I've been photographing. But because I then suddenly realised, actually, there's an opportunity here to make some. And then 2 weeks later, I was asked by a cage fighting show, or a mixed martial arts show, to do exactly the same deal, and I bit the opportunity at that as well. And then I set up my little Facebook page and was sharing the photos, and actually it became. Pretty much most weekends I was doing something like that, and it's one of those guys who I've kept on as my only client now as well, because his show is just the atmosphere there is still something that gives me goosebumps as well, just to be there and to be part of that as well, which is so nice as well. And there's things like that, and festivals as well. That like photographing festivals, because just the whole everything is so creative, color, and so much going on. It's just so nice to see that as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a way, it was almost like, getting into it absolutely full pelt ahead was almost like the unnecessary evil for you to sort of filter out all the bits that you do enjoy as well, wasn't it?
We do, exactly. Don't knock it until you tried it, I guess is what goes, isn't it? And I've done still life, I've done model shoots. There's a few things I said no to. Like I say, and I turned down some really good money for shooting those as well. And
like what?
Yeah, my work doesn't belong to themselves. So but yeah, it's just and I mean, it's just very few things I just wouldn't shoot, because I don't want my name associated with that in the slightest. But I think I was also in a very lucky position where in 2013 I went off and did my degree as well, and those 5 years of doing a BA and then straight into an MA was a lot of time to experiment with the safety of that, and also been able to work at the same time as well, and not being work shy as well. I mean, I was shooting my bachelor's degree project. I was dropping my little one off at school in the morning at 8:15, going straight into uni, doing a whole day at uni, picking up my daughter from the childminders, cooking dinner, and I was going off out at night to shoot my bachelor's degree project till 3 a.m, and then getting up at 6 to start the school run again. And then, so that was because I wanted something. I really wanted something from that, and that's the sort of things that drive me, because that's what I love the most is been able to do those sort of things as well. And it'll never land on your lap, really. And those opportunities are that you do have to go and get them if you want them. And I really know what I want now from my photography, which is nice, because having like format filters behind me, and I mean, as an ambassador for them is really nice, along with slick tripods as well. Those things, they do give a little bit more credit to what I do, I guess, as well. And it does bring a little bit more interest in me, I guess, but it allows me to be able to not have to spend as much money, I guess, as well. So, which is nice as well. But the creative process is cool. You know what I mean? It's just like, and now narrowed it down to what I love it is good, I think, and it's somewhere I wanted to stay for a long time.
I think to summarise this little section off, just before I can see Joel got a couple of questions floating around in his head.
I've still got some questions about the BA and the MA.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking as well, just to sort of give a little recap, just in case people were sort of just joining now as well, is really to sort of almost take away from this, from what we've learned from your experience, is to go out and really, have a good go at everything, but actually knowing when is a good time to pull back as well and enjoy life.
I think I think you'll understand deep down inside yourself when you're not enjoying it, and I think you have to listen to those around you and those that you trust. I think because we are, as photographers, we're quite selfish. It's quite a selfish hobby in a way, because we go out with our camera to photograph our thing. We all have we all know about the suffering husband, the suffering wife, or the photographer's widow, I think is the term, isn't it? Where we go out, and I plan a holiday, my wife is like, this better not be another photography holiday sort of thing. It's that's when I think we need to start assessing what it is that we're doing and whether or not it's getting too far, I think. And then, because at that point, is it work or is it a hobby? Is it something you become obsessed with, I guess, in a way? And I'm not a psychologist, but it's hard to it's hard. I mean, luckily I've got good friends around me who I do trust as well, and some of those were quite quick to point out that actually I wasn't in quite a good way, which I totally respect them for that as well.
No, that's brilliant.
Okay, so
I mean, if you want to talk BA and MA, I've got all night if you want.
So I feel like we need to see some pictures, because the fact that we're talking about photography is a very visual subject, and I was just wondering if you've got any of your BA or MA, or just to give us a flavour of what you are into in terms of your photography. I don't know what you've got to show us, but I feel like we need to see some pictures.
Yeah, I mean, I've got. If I just share screen on here,
yeah.
This is Google Chrome. Let's record.
Hey, Paul, they've put some flamenco dancers now in the comments.
Oh, brilliant. Well, have a look at the comments just for a second. So
good evening, boys, from Trish. Hi, Trish. And hi, Gwynfor again. Good evening. Can't find the dancer though, but a few comments down, he's found it. so that's good.
Brilliant.
Chris Knoll, hey, we're going to speak to you tomorrow. It is tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, Chris is tomorrow, I think, from memory.
Well, can you see the screen now?
Say again?
Can you see the screen now?
No, not yet.
Not yet, no.
It's not popped up.
Oh, I don't know what's going on with that one. I've not used
If you go to application window and then share screen.
And Steve says, evening, guys. Fun with Peak, but great anyway, despite tech problems. I'm glad you thought so. Andrew Howe says hi as well. And then Steve says hi, Dibs, waving hand emoji.
Yeah, we love those hand emojis.
Martin says...
I can't get it to actually share. Share screen. And application window. There we go. SteamYard share. Is that it now?
Not yet.
Not yet, no. I think you need to... What was it? Was it your Lightroom that you wanted to share, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you go share screen, application window, and then within application window, it should say Lightroom if it's open. It does need to be open to be shared.
Then click on it and then share screen, hopefully. Martin Jones says, hi guys, I hope you're keeping well. I was wondering if I need to pair my Canon 100 to 400 with a tele converter 1.4 to the Canon 7D Mark II. And then I think he tweaks what he says to calibrate. Yeah. You potentially do if it's back or front focusing, but bring it into the shop and we can sort that out for you, no problem.
If you try and focus on a ruler, like on an angle, and Joel's laughing at me. I don't know why. It's good advice.
It just sounds daft until you see how it works.
Does, yeah. And then just pick a number, any number, and then if you focus on that number, hopefully it'll be sharp. Now, if the number like below it or above it or below it is sharper, then you know that you might have a calibration problem. So, and that's a good time to bring it into us and we can sort it. So, or give us a call and we can talk you through how to do the calibration through yourself.
I can't get this to work, unfortunately.
No, it's not a problem, Dibs.
No worries. Gwynville says you should have popped in for a panad. You should have popped in for a cup of tea when you came to North Wales that time. So you're all...
Well, I did pop into your shop.
Yeah, you did. I was just about to say you did. You popped in to see us for a panad.
Nice.
I don't think we had any cake at that point, though,
no,
did we?
Didn't. No, there was no cake involved at all.
Shocking. We should have told you where to get a good cooked breakfast from down the road.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was meant to be in Wales again in. God, I lost track now. November, I think it was. Yeah, end of October, November. We were going to come up for my birthday to photograph the rally, and then for a bit of landscaping as well. And then whatever else happens on the 40th, I guess, as well. But but yeah, and then I sent you up here again at the start of November for sort of autumnal colours as well. As a bit of a treat as well. And again, it's one of my favourite places in the UK to actually spend photographing, which is nice.
Yeah.
Gwynville is asking, where did you do your MA, please?
So I did that at Norwich University of the Arts. And so I did that as a mature student. And obviously, as I got a house and mortgage here, I was limited to where I went. The year after I joined, nothing at all to do. They won Best Independent or Specialist University in the UK. They are creative arts based. So moving image, film, fine art, photography, all those sort of disciplines. And now they do a drama course as well.
That's cool.
Brilliant. Did you
Dramatic
feel that
photographers?
Sorry?
Indeed.
Dramatic photographers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was very lucky that some of the tutors I had there were that they come from a very big commercial background, but also they also had very strong like backgrounds in their own personal work as well. And some of them have actually gone through the same sort of journey as what I have as well. They've gone full hog into the commercial world, working on like multi-million-pound advertising campaigns for like Peugeot cars, Volvo, and stuff like that. Like hiring helicopters to be filming cars and stuff like that all over the world. And they're now focusing solely on their own work as well. Such as one of my tutors, Alan, he was very, very big on the work that I was making and how passionate I was with that and the commitment I was putting into that. And I still speak to him now as well. He flips between here, the Arctic Circle, and New Zealand, and he photographs the. Yeah,
he got some good air miles.
Yeah, exactly. He won the Royal Photographic Society Environmental Bursary Award for the work that he makes in his regarding around forest fires and deforestation as well. So it's having people like that to be able to talk to you about my work, and not just about the actual work, but the MA for me it wasn't really about making work. It was about learning, about research into work as well.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we all love to go out and shoot stuff, but how do we know what we want to go and shoot as well? That's a massive thing. And for me, a lot of my work is project-based. My personal work, which will never fill my tank up with fuel. I mean, let alone pay for a few trips away, because it's not about that. It's about the documentation of place and the remains of bits and pieces of war and stuff like that, which to me is a massive interest in mine. But I think I've only sold like 1 or 2 prints from it, really bizarrely. But, well, not bizarrely because bizarre that someone's bought it. But yeah, but I keep getting told by my wife I need to go out and photograph stuff on the coast and the stuff that sells at the tourist spots and things like that as well, which I love because it really, really is nice. So I've now started working a plan together in the last year where buying a van that I can sleep in, rather than having to rely on staying in a hotel and things like that as well.
I have one of those.
I've started converting it myself. Unfortunately, I bought it right at the start of lockdown, so I've managed to sleep on it like once, I think, in the whole time that I've had it, which is really sad. But it now means that I can travel the whole coastline of the UK, which is my plan for my project, documenting the World War II bunkers, which was what my project was about. If you want to look at it, it's all on my website, just dibsphotography.com, and there's a series on there called Night Bunkers. And that was the BA work, which finished in 2015-16 and just sat on a shelf really for the best part of 4 years. And the plan is now I set up a little Ko-fi account for people to help put some fuel miles put some fuel in the tank to hopefully get me around the coastline to be able to photograph more of these locations. But at the same time, I could be photographing these locations at night and then photographing them. It's the same locations, but the pretty bits and pieces for the visualizers.
Yeah,
and
to support your project.
Exactly, yeah. So the two will feed each other. So I'm getting 2 images or 2 projects worth of images out of one location. And that was part of what my time spent doing my MA was all about, which was really, really nice. And it was good being able to think and clear mind about that. And going back again to that decision to walk away from photography to a degree, that's what I was then walking into. And it was through 2 years of working things out and looking at other photographers' models about what they do to survive, basically, to be able to do that as well. And I think that was kind of good, and being able to do that in a university setting with some very, very good tutors at hand to speak to openly was really, really important, and my peers as well, I think, is also really important.
I definitely miss university for the creative side of it and the encouragement that you get and the challenge for.
Well, that was a big thing that I was trying to set up as well. So we're out in the limb here in Norfolk, but we don't really have. There's a very big art scene. There's a very big music scene, and there's little cliques of artists all dotted around here, which you need to be in with them and you need to commit time to them as well. But I have a family, I run my workshops, I work 9 to 5 doing the software job as well. So having the time to be able to then join a camera club or something else just isn't going to happen. And then I get asked to speak at a camera club, and that's camera club night. So actually that's revenue, that 60 quid or whatever you get from here, from a print sale or here, or I mean, on a Monday night, you're printing something that came in over the weekends. Those nights I could be going to a camera club. Actually, I can't be giving those up for myself. So I miss out on that whole like critique time that you used to get at university, because you don't get that because you're not a member of a camera club, which is a little bit sad. And I do miss that. So I was trying to set something up before lockdown, but obviously that put a stop to all that as well. And that's the biggest thing I missed from the university, was the networking and having your prints on a table to be able to look through them and starting to dissect the work that you'd shot up until that point as well, which I think is, as photographers, is nice. As again, it's a very selfish hobby because we don't really do an awful lot other than share a photo online, but sitting around a table with a couple of tutors and your peers is actually very beneficial for you developing your own work as well. Very different to asking for creative like CC on a Facebook page. You'll get a lot more from it in person around the table.
Yeah, and I think it's quite difficult to ask for like criticism online now, because it's very much like people are. Yeah, it's very hard to, because you're thinking like, oh, I want to help, but are they going to take it the right way? There's like this extra dimension that's been like added into the sort of social media side of things now, where you don't want to offend somebody, you're trying to help somebody, am I going to say it the right way?
Yeah.
And I think it has been lost. It was brought up, it was yesterday, wasn't it, Joel? It was David that was saying that when he started, he was able to upload like images onto, before social media was about, there was forums that you could load pictures up into, and you'd get criticism, and it was just expected, and it would happen. There'd be loads of people talking about your work, and he says it's impossible to do now, because either you'll post a picture up on what is now today current social media, and you'll either get the whole sort of fan favorite side of things, so you'll have absolutely love it, this, that, you get all the hearts, all the likes, but maybe not some of the constructive criticism that you would get in a university or a college.
It's
nice to receive that.
Yeah, definitely. What I try to do is, like on my workshops, I invite people to send me images, and I'll show them what I potentially would be editing or removing or tidying up a little bit. I mean, just those little things that make an image a little bit, a stone in a corner which might be half in or out of a photo, those little things, and showing them. And quite often I've done that, or recently I've been just having a few people we've been jumping on just online, and we've just been like just chatting amongst ourselves about how we could improve an image, but certainly not to university level, which is brutal. I mean, unfortunately, there was people who I saw who actually left those sessions and they'd be in tears because they thought that they put so much into some work, and they would just question the motive behind it, and they were asked to explain that, and they couldn't, which is a bit sad, really. They in a way, but for you to understand that and why you're making that work to that level, if you can understand that motive and the reasoning behind it all, the simple question, why are you making that work? And if you can't answer that, it is a little bit sad, really. And but CC is, let's say, it's a great thing, but I think, like I say, it is sad that you can't really get it in the abundance that you could at university, and definitely one of the biggest things I miss the most.
Yeah, at least online, you don't have your work ripped up in front of you by a tutor.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That definitely humbles you. You put all this effort into a piece, and they just come along and go,
"What's this?"
You're like,
"Yeah,
you can't do that."
Yeah, but university is a great place to be learning about all that, because it's an adult environment. You're not there to get your back packed. If you want to do that, then you're not going to get the.
You go online.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, and that is such a shame, because you will still develop, because as long as you're taking photos as a photographer, you will keep developing, and that's a key. It's just keeping at it. keeping at it. And it's like going to a location. Just because you've been to Haysborough once, it doesn't mean you cross it off the list and never go back there. I mean, you keep going back there and you hit those locations time after time after time.
That's an interesting point.
And, yeah, I mean, look at Jem Southern's work. I mean, he's just like spends it traipsing along the coast and discovers so much about these places and change. It's absolutely, that his work is phenomenal. It's just stunning, and that is like not too big an area that his work is focused on. And that, I mean, yeah, you've got to love it for that. It's, you understand the location to its an inch of its life, I guess. It's yeah, and that's what I like to try and on the workshops, is always go somewhere and think what you shot last time and try and do something different around a composition, or remember what you did wrong and push that into something new in a composition, or something you did 20 miles down the coast. Maybe try and get an aspect of that into the workshops. And it's the same as working with themes to a workshop as well, I guess, is it does help things along a little bit. Like one of our popular sessions is a boat themed day. We're quite blessed on the coast here. There's a good stretch where there's boats everywhere, but just because it's boats, it doesn't mean that's all you have to photograph. But it helps break people down who are very new to photography to be thinking about things, and you show them a few pointers, and quite quickly that's it. You don't hear from them for an hour because they're so into their camera. You have to go and check, are you all right? And it's just like, yeah, this is amazing. I'm just enjoying it so much. And then you're seeing what they're shooting, and then you go back 20 minutes later and you're making sure they're trying some other things. And I really enjoy that. It's that seeing that development, I think, is pretty cool about, yeah, and it's just enjoyable.
That's cool.
It's brilliant.
It's interesting. You mentioned going to the same place over and over. You mentioned it earlier on when you were describing your photography and going back to the same place over and over again. Do you find that you find it easier or harder after your MA and BA to be more creative in the same location?
Oh God, that's tricky.
Ah, you got him, Joel. Well done.
Aspects of it I find more tricky because I'm very critical of my own story of it. We're all guilty of it. We all, when we picked up the camera for the first time, we go out and we shoot 5,000 photos of that one spot, basically, and we would have 5,000 photos off there, and we would come home, we would chop the bits because 2,000 of them were in focus and they were amazing photos. and then you progress a couple of years and you go out and do the same, and you shoot 50 photos and you love 50 of them. But now I go out to get a photo, but it's a photo that is going to be worthy of going into the portfolio, and that's what my MA taught me. But I don't beat myself up about it as well. That's the thing. Obviously, if I've spent 3 hours walking along the coast, that's a winner for me straight away. So that's definitely a plus for going back to these locations, because the locations I love. The places, I live in such a beautiful area. I'm not in, I mean, nothing against London, but I couldn't live in London because it's so busy and bustly. I go down though to go and photograph because I do find it interesting, but it's too busy for me. But like it's exactly the same if I go down to Kent to go and visit my wife's uncle. We go down there and there's a few regular spots that I go because I like seeing how they've changed with new rock falls and things like that, and you see them slightly different every single time because exactly as I said a minute ago, you think what you did last time, and you always remember the photo that stands out from the previous time you were there because you spent a fair bit of time looking at it and editing it, printing it if you're into that as well, and you actually see it in front of you and you remember the photo, and you subconsciously, I think, are trying to think about a different composition to make from that location, because you can't just have the same looking down that pier the same way. You start looking for something a little bit different. Maybe there's a rock in the foreground, a bit of seaweed, or maybe if you go 50 meters off to the left or 100 meters off to the right, it could be giving you something slightly different in a composition. And the weather's always going to be different as well. It's those things, I think, which make it let's say that's what keeps me on my toes, I think, with the photography is trying to do those things. So yeah, so the MA definitely has taught me to open my eyes a hell of a lot more. So I think it definitely has made it easier in a way. But the only downside to it is it's made me more critical.
Which I think, though, is a good thing if you develop your ability to be critical in a constructive way, even to yourself, having the self-awareness and the ability to say, do you know what, it's not quite what I wanted or not quite what I had in mind, but the next time I can try such and such. I know a lot of people take a notebook around or their phone and they will make notes when they've been editing or when they've been on location so that they know what they want to achieve next time, which I think can be really helpful in that process of getting better.
Good. Yeah, I mean, we get quite a lot of that on workshops where people are becoming along, and normally it will be they shot this file with these filters so they have a good understanding, or I get people just to take a photo on the phone and then they can just they can see how the camera was set up with the filters and they can take a note that way down as well. So because they'll see the photo in the back of the camera and they'll want to try and use that, maybe that 3-stop hard grad with the 6-stop ND and the polarizer at F8. They'll want to remember that for that peer because they might be thinking, right, I'm going to come back here another day and I'm going to use that same setup. Because it does get quite complicated for a lot of people, I think, trying to remember all this information in one go, because it's a lot of information. I mean, for us who have been out shooting for quite a while, it's like driving a car. I mean, that's how I always explain it. It's like you start approaching a hill with a bend on it, and you're instantly thinking about what gear you're going to be in. Well, you're not even thinking about it really to a degree. It just happens because you're prepared for it, and that's kind of what happens, I think, when you're setting the filters up. Where, for me, anyway, I'm not really thinking about the filter, but I am subconsciously, and I'm making those decisions as I'm getting the kit out of the bag and the camera set up as well, which people worry about, I think, on workshops, I think sometimes. But it's just relaxing them and telling people to slow down, because that peer is going nowhere. It's going to be there. It's going to be there in a minute. I've got
unless it's Colin Bay peer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. But that's why that people are like, oh, the work sunset's not for an hour and a bit. Yeah, but you want to be set up. And you want 10 minutes just to sit there and just unwind and start to really see everything which is going on around us as well, because that's what my MA ended up being written about, was it takes a while for you to unwind from life, really, to be able to relax for a start and to absorb the location you're in, start feeling the light as well, which is also kind of important as well, and for you just to be in the right frame of mind to then take that photo. And if you turn up at sunrises at 7 o'clock and you turn up at 6:50, I mean, you're not going to be in the right frame of mind for that as well. And the same goes for sunset as well. It's not going to happen, and you need to be prepared for that. And that's why, like I say, again, on the workshops, I'd like to get people to slow everything all the way down, and because they'll absorb that information you're giving them as well. And then you see the results that people are getting, and then you see their smiles on the faces, and that's worth everything, really. And that is the icing on the cake for me, is somebody, yeah, when you see their pennies just dropped and everything's fitted into place, and it's just nice. I think
it's a good feeling.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. It's and that's what photography is for me now. Really, is just this great thing which can be shared by many, I think.
And as we kind of come towards the end, if anybody has any questions, pop them in the comments, and we'll ask Dibs. I guess one question I have, which I asked Angela the other day, was, what questions haven't we asked you that you'd like to answer?
Jeez.
Well, I'll ask you another one whilst you have a think about it. I put you on the spot then.
Yeah.
So, obviously, going back to how you started in photography was fantastic, in the sense, especially with the results it had initially. Yeah. And then obviously you went through that moment in 2018 when you kind of came, or 2018, when you came to that realization that you had to step back from some of the photography you were doing to keep that love for it and the benefit it was giving you. If you were to speak to somebody in a similar position, either they've got a health issue, or maybe they've had to deal with a lot in terms of work or with family issues, etc., and they wanted to use photography as a as a tool, I think tool sounds a bit harsh, but or a process or a method of or a medicine, whichever of those words fits, I suppose. Is there anything that you learned that, whilst it was really beneficial, if you'd have known back when you had cancer and you were going out with your camera and stuff and getting into photography, if somebody said, "Oh, Dibs, if you did this or you tried this, it would speed up the process or make it more enjoyable or more effective more quickly," do you have anything that people watching might be able to benefit from that?
I mean, the only thing really would be, do you mean as in the sense of learning photography, or?
Well, yeah, or
Yeah.
did you find that getting out with certain people helped you, or going on your own helped you more? You mentioned the social side was really helpful.
Yeah, I think chucking yourself into the deep end. I think at the end of the day, if there's not much to lose from it, i.e., don't go taking a wedding on because you want to learn wedding photography like now, because there's something to lose from that as well. Not for you, boy. Your reputation, one, but a bride is going to be very, very peed off, and you're going to find out what the term bridezilla is very quickly. But model shoots, like time for print model shoots, you're going to learn so much about lighting and workshops. Such a quick way of learning photography, to the point where there's been competitions where people have entered work and the images have been removed. I think the winning one, like one of the competitions where people have submitted the work, because you learn so much so quickly in the workshop. Technically the work might not be yours, but I'm not too fussed about that, but you learn so much really, really quickly. I wish I got into workshops a lot sooner than what I did, so like 2014, 2015, because I went out and just taught myself to a degree. My degree wasn't about learning photography; it was about learning who I am as an artist and modeling myself as a practitioner. It is what it was about. But going out there, yeah, workshops, time for print model shoots, and just shoot and read about it. Go to the library and look, see what books inspire you, and then go and see if you can find some interviews on those photographers online. I mean, the internet is the world's best friend for information. YouTube is just full of interviews by so many different people. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, you guys have talked with so many people straight away. I mean, we're on here now chatting away about my experience. Think of all the other photographers, you talked about the same experiences as well, and think about all the people around the world who are doing exactly the same as well. So go to the library, find out who those photographers are that interest you. There's thousands of books in the library, and you'll see the images which jump out at you, and find out about those photographers. Find out about how they learn photography, what makes them tick, what makes them want to shoot what they do as well. And don't copy. Copy them as much as you want, I guess, but you don't have to copy them. But there's a lot you can learn from them and from those interviews, because they'll talk openly about their thought process. I mean, like the guy from PhotoSpeed today, I found it really interesting about why he was choosing papers for certain images through his thought process, because what he thought works. And there's a lot to gain from that, from those conversations, because they're really engaging. And I wish there'd been more YouTube around, I think, when in 2009 and 10 at that time, because I get so much from that now as well, just seeing stuff. Really, I find it interesting. I mean, I normally have it on in the background just to kind of engage with or something like that, and yeah, it's kind of cool. It really, really is. That's the biggest thing I will learn from, I think.
Is this a point, Joel, where we can say other talks may not be available, so everyone has to watch ours?
Yeah, I mean, I've found loads and loads of your guys. Like I say, I've just found them really, really, and I've bookmarked pretty much most of them, because, like I say, I just find I'm fascinated by how other people teach, other people talk, what they get from photography, because we've all been on a different journey through life as well. I mean, we're all here through a slightly different path, and those sort of paths are, they'll bring a lot to the table when we start talking about them openly. And I wish more people would talk openly as well. I mean, one of my big pet peeves is when somebody asks for help online, like where's the location, because they found aspiration from a photo, and you see them and they comment on every single photo, every single comment, apart from the one, where is it? Because And I mean, and people just are not open about little things like that, and it's a little bit rude, but it's just like help everybody, and that's how I wish everybody was, because if you give everyone enough encouragement, then people will learn an awful lot more as well, and it's just nice. It really is.
Definitely. Well, that's brilliant.
Froze slightly then.
Yeah.
I was nodding and my head wasn't moving. Oh dear. I just saw a comment from Joe Toffs, or two comments. I think they're referring back to Camera Club judging is awful when we're talking about constructive criticism, and they seem to be trained by the same person and use the same phrases. But she said, I did a workshop with Dibs and Duncan at RF Cotters Hall open house this summer. It was really relaxed and able to absorb the atmosphere of the place. I even got some fab concrete pics.
Yeah,
must be good if you got fabulous concrete pictures.
Exactly, it's all right. There's nothing like some listed monument concrete. That's
that is some nice concrete.
Yeah, monuments to the Cold War. That is. It's it's so Duncan's one of the guys I do all my workshops with. Really, he lives local to me as well. He's on the format ambassador as well. But we have similar interests, landscapes, but he's very into his nighttime photography as well, whereas I'm more into sort of like my military history and those sort of things. But then we just get on really well. I mean, it's just like, and yeah, just working together on a workshop is fab. Really, really nice.
Joe just said I could bore with concrete.
Yeah, we've got plenty of it around here.
That's cool.
But
do you have any?
Photography is just great. It really, really is. It brings so many people together, and it means so much to so many as well. And I've met so many amazing people through it all as well.
It's good.
That's brilliant. So we've heard you mention just a couple of times, Dibs, that you do workshops. Where can people find out this information so they can get themselves booked on? Yes,
just stuff on my website. There's not a lot on there at the moment because I'm not really planning anything really until we know what's going on next year. But yeah, it's just Dibs
stuff to bookmark then.
Yeah, it's just dibsphotography.com for my workshops.
And we'll make sure we put that in the comments as well, so people can link through to it.
Yeah, and I've got Through the Lens Workshops is the company that myself and Duncan run as well. Again, brilliant. there's not much on there either because that's we're just waiting to see what happens in January. Really, it's just been wise. It's we don't really know what's going on, so.
Makes sense.
No, that's it. We're all in the same boat, and I think we're all looking forward to a bit of back to normality anyway. And we can go out and start enjoying more of the social aspect of photography. I think it is.
Oh yeah.
So,
I've missed a good cat. I know that. So.
No, that's brilliant. Well, it's been lovely having you, Dibs.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a really nice conversation. Really has. And good luck
again.
With sessions.
Thank you.
These evening sessions have felt like it's just been a conversation between three friends. So it's been absolutely lovely.
In the pub. But you can't really go to the pub.
I know, in the cafe. Yeah. In the cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a pub fan, but hopefully I'll get to see you guys soon. I'll pop by next time I'm
with you. Definitely.
And
go out shooting together.
Yeah, definitely. Always up for that.
Sounds good. Right, we'll pop you off the screen whilst we waffle on about tomorrow, and then we'll catch up with you after we. Great. Cheers, Dibs.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Wow, so that was
thank you very much.
Yeah, it's really encouraging to hear how photography has had such a positive effect on Dibs, and I think a lot of our customers over the years have told us just how beneficial photography has been. So you can definitely see why photography is more than just a camera and a lens and going out and making pretty pictures. It's definitely got something deeper. And I suppose that's why we love doing the show, isn't it? And why we both love photography and working in the photography industry is because we can see how the passion of photography helps people. And it's not just selling gear for us. It's the fact that we see so many people who have such a great benefit from it in their lives. So I think Dibs really brought that home today.
Yeah, no, definitely, and you know, it's why we're doing these as well, is to help ease the strain a little bit, spread a bit of joy, and hopefully people are getting something good out of it. So, and if not, you don't need to watch.
Yeah,
It's fine.
True. Go and watch I'm a Celeb.
Yeah. But one thing we have said, Joel, we'll have to keep mentioning this. You know, if we get up to 1,000 likes on any of the videos,
yeah, you're doing a weird.
There will be a challenge. There will be a challenge. And everyone can get to decide what the challenge is. So
yeah,
we can up the ante a little bit. So get everyone.
So tomorrow.
I was going to go off on a big tangent then. So thank you very much. Tomorrow, Joel, we have.
We're speaking to Jerry from Tamron.
You certainly are.
And we're going to go through a range of the lenses that they offer, because they're making great lenses at great prices, and it might be a way of you figuring out which lens you want to ask for Christmas, and also just understanding some of the benefits of different lenses that you might not have known about. And then, as we mentioned earlier, at 7 p.m, we're speaking to Chris Knoll, who's a blind photographer. And speaking to him briefly the other day, it's going to be a really great chat about what photography did for him, and how he manages to achieve such great shots, given that he struggles with his sight. So that'll be a really interesting conversation with Chris tomorrow. So looking forward to that. Once again,
sure. A nice conversation that we all can have together. So
yeah, definitely.
Yes. Oh, looking forward to it. Yeah. So we won't be as early as today, everyone. So we are starting tomorrow's session at 3 o'clock. So
Paul's going to have a lion whilst watching Netflix.
Yep. Yeah, as long as they're together, we can't stop watching Netflix at all. You can find all the information for our guest speakers on our website, which is cambrianphoto.co.uk, and clicking through to the link labeled guest speakers. On there, you'll be able to see everyone that has been. You can rewatch any of the videos that we've posted live, and you can also set notifications for anything that's coming up as well. So go over to our website and check that out. It's most appreciated. Like always, if you can like and share this video, the more you do, the more it helps us sort of spread the word about what we're actually doing here. And
thanks
also
for the great comments.
Yes, indeed. And make sure you go onto our Facebook and YouTube pages as well, and hit subscribe, because that helps as well. So the more you can do 100%. To help us, the better it is. So thank you very much. Anything else you've got to say, Joel?
No, just Steve said it was a great discussion, excellent information, and he's enjoying the show, and we're doing a fantastic job, and we're learning to win-win. But thank you for the encouragement. Steve.
Yeah,
it is very much appreciated.
It's nice. So yeah, I've known Steve for a very long time, and it's so nice that he's watching along with us as well. Yeah. So that means a lot to me.
And Joe says, thanks guys, another great speaker, really enjoying these sessions. Well, I'm glad, because it's what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to be able to help you guys enjoy photography more, learn about it, and get out more. So yeah, no, we're glad that you like it. So we'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Cheers.
Bye
now.